changed different now, I got the cheat code. Lottie, I just watching, you ain't got the cheat code. Can't stay the same, yeah, you gotta switch it up. Can't stay the same, yeah, you gotta switch it up. Game changed different now, I got the cheat.
Welcome back to my channel. I am Goddess Giselle, and this is episode 3 of my podcast. I created this podcast to shed light on women making an impact in their communities and beyond. And I'm so excited to bring women that I think have a super inspiring story to share with you. So without further ado, we're going to jump right into it. First of all, I want to say thank you so much for being here. And if you're new here, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. First, next, we have our guest for tonight. It's Chrissy Jai. Hi, Chrissy.
Hi, Chrissy. How are you?
I am doing so good. Thank you so much for your time, for being here and sharing your energy with us. And I know you are on the go. You are in flight right now. You've been moving and shaking. So where are you streaming from tonight?
So right now, I am an hour away from your hometown. I'm in Birmingham, Alabama, doing some work out here and everything or whatever. Like, I am usually all over the Gulf Coast, from Miami to Palm Springs to New Orleans, all of those different things right now. Just doing some new interesting things, and yeah, so I'm in Birmingham tonight. So.
Okay, so shout out to the ham. If y'all in the comments, be sure to show some love. We got Birmingham in the building, or location rather. But you are a global woman, so location tonight is we're here, there, everywhere. So for people who don't know, you want to just do a full little intro. First of all, tell everybody your name, where you're from, where you live now, and a little bit about your profession / career and your family life.
Okay, awesome. Well, my name is Christina Johnson. That's my government name, guys. But my real name that I go by and all of that kind of stuff too is Chrissy Jai. Chrissy_JAI if you want to follow me on Instagram or anything like that or whatever. But I am from St. Louis, Missouri. Love my hometown, all those different things. Not going back, but definitely moving forward. I just actually moved from Atlanta, Georgia to I moved from Atlanta, Georgia to Houston, Texas. So now I'm actually a Texan. So you can call me a nomad.
Okay.
Like wherever I am, that's home at the moment. I have a background in real estate and have been doing it for quite some time. I also can get down on some hair. Gigi is one of my long-time friends. I done bust her hair down a couple of times and all of that different things. Those different
Yes.
things. We were in college, so when we were finished up school, and while we were both in Atlanta, and now I'm in Houston, Texas. People don't let me put down the curling iron, so I still do that as well as I'm still in the real estate field, but in a different entity. I've taken on a marketing manager role for a really awesome company that deals with homeowners insurance. So
Nice.
I am right now.
Oh my God, I love that for you because you're just multifaceted. And I think that's something I like to talk about here on the platform is women of today and how we're able to just wear different hats and really just be our authentic self. So how are you able to juggle all the parts of you and just kind of show up as, hey, this is me and I do this, that, and the other?
Oh my gosh, it is really about organization, to tell you the truth. And I'm learning more and more about that because, like, having all these hats and being able to do all those things before, I remember, like, sometimes, like, I would experience burnout, all of those different things. So I have taken the time to get fully organized. I am utilizing the Eisenhower method now. I actually picked up a book that was talking about organization when I started this new role and wanted to be able to, also be good in some of the other areas of support that I help people in the other industries that I'm in. So I really wanted to kind of be successful about that, and I chose the Eisenhower method out of this book, and I'll give you the name of that book, Gigi, so you can like link it in the. I don't want to misquote what the name of the book is, but so
yes.
you can bio. But what I loved about it is Eisenhower, he was, of course, we know he was one of our presidents. And if I'm missing
Mm-hmm.
nothing, please give me.
No, that's that. Yeah, we know what we talking about, girl.
He was one of our presidents or whatever. And one thing that stood out to me, a lot of presidents after him utilized this method. And we know, I mean, whether if we are political or not, we know that like people in roles like that, roles like president roles and executive roles, all of those different things, wear many hats. And
Yep.
that's just been always my lifestyle. So I just wanted to kind of like clean it up and start just being more intentional. Like, you know, I'm like, we're older, all of those different things. We are in the areas that we will be in and that we will grow into other areas with.
Right.
So sure that I'm doing my due diligence and planning it out. So I literally plan out from from like all of my business things to my personal life, all of those different things. It's a new journey for me, and I am loving it. It is keeping me it's keeping the anxiety down, all of those different things or whatever, and it's allowing me to work in my purpose as well as my profession.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing, because we need tools and resources, because we just don't know what we don't know. You know what I'm saying? And so it helps to just like encourage each other and like share the knowledge, baby, so we can like be on the same accord. And one thing I love to talk about on this channel is family life and how we're able to juggle this and that and this. And Chrissy, let's talk a little bit about your personal life, because girl, we're gonna get into this conversation, and we're talking about women and resilience, right? And how to bounce back. And I feel like every woman has a story, especially at any age, right? I don't care if you're 5, 15, 25, 55. We all have a story to share. And I want to talk a little bit about your family life. Now, are you dating anyone now? And let's get a little personal.
Well, I'm dating.
Okay.
I have somebody that I am very fond of, I'll say, or whatever, but I am dating. Yeah, I'm usually like a one woman type of girl or whatever. I'm trying to like incorporate, you know, the goal is marriage or whatever. So
Right.
those different things or whatever. But I'm enjoying the space that I'm in right now. I'm in a healthy relationship,
Good.
healthy friendship, and I love that. I have healthy people around me, whether it's someone that I'm trying to pursue, that I'm pursuing, or that's pursuing me, as well as friends that are around me, including you.
Exactly. Like, and I think that's so important. And sometimes we don't know what we need to heal from or what isn't healthy until we're put in situations that call for us to be like, whoa, what's going on here? So with that being said, I want to talk a little bit about resilience after a breakup, or how to find your light during a hard time. So we're going to jump right in, because I know Chrissy personally, I know what the tea is, but maybe my guests, my audience don't know. So let's talk a little bit about your previous relationship. Like, how long have you been single now? And let's talk about a little bit about your previous relationship.
Okay. Well, you know, you like I said, you are one of my really close friends or whatever, so you do have the tea or whatever. But for your audience, I'm more than happy to be candid about a lot of different things. My previous relationship, I was with that person for 2 years. I now, like even after telling my story recently on Lupac's channel, I have noticed that it wasn't a healthy dynamic for the lifestyle that I would like to live and the type of relationships that I would like to have. But it's a learning experience. And so I recently gave my story on social media, and it like really kind of like impacted a lot of different people. So I think nothing goes like, I guess everything happens for a reason. We know that
It does.
all of that kind of stuff or whatever. But I was
So who was your ex-boyfriend, girl? Who was?
girl, oh my gosh, I know young. That was who it was. It is what it is, you know.
Okay.
But
Okay, so and we don't know this guy, but for my audience, like I said, this is new. So his name's Jonah Young, and tell us a little bit about how y'all met. I want to start there, because I just love a little romantic. Because once upon a time, It was a sweet little love story. So how did you two meet?
Well, we actually met at a Kanye concert. I have went there. What's so funny is, and I know that you're like on the like esoteric type of side and different things like that. What was so funny about that time is that my cousin came from out of town. She almost didn't make it or whatever, but she was just like, "I'm buying tickets to the concert." I told her if she came down or whatever, I would get the drinks. And so we ended up going to the Kanye concert, and I think it was the Donda. If I'm
Yep.
not mistaken. And we were having a good time, and I was just fulfilling my duties or whatever. But when we were there, well, right before we walked in there, and I was like, "I'm gonna meet somebody tonight," and she was just like, "That's weird." Like, out of nowhere, you just saying, "Randomly, you gonna meet somebody?" I was like, "Yeah." I was all like, "I can feel it. I can really feel it. I'm gonna meet somebody tonight or whatever." And then, so she was just like, "Okay, we walking in here." So I ended up meeting one person, and I was just like, "That ain't it. That's not it, or whatever. That's not who I'm supposed to meet." And so then I ended up going to go get our drinks, and I was at the bar, like waiting at the bar, and like this guy came up to me or whatever. I literally still had a mask on because this was like my first big event, like outside of COVID, all of that kind of stuff. I had this hot pink Henry mask on. If you know, you know, and it was the bomb. And I was
Okay.
this little short outfit on, this little one number two, and this one number, and then had like my Doc Martens on, all of that kind of stuff. I was looking real cute that day, I will say.
Okay.
Um, I was like I said, I was at the bar ordering my drinks. He takes a look, and then he takes a double look or whatever, and I'm like, oh my god, here this guy comes over. I forget what I said before, right? And so then like I'm at the bar or whatever and stuff like that. He asked basically to buy my drinks and stuff like that or whatever. And he was just like, "Dang, gorgeous, you beautiful," or whatever. And my smart mouth was all like, "How you see all of that?" And I got mad. Come on now, like quit playing or whatever. He's like, "I know beauty when you see it or whatever and stuff like that." I was just like, "Okay," or whatever. He ended up buying my drinks, invited me and my cousin down to his section at the concert, and then he gave me his he asked for my number or whatever, or asked me to take his number, and my phone goes dead. So when my phone go dead, I'm all like, "What? That mean that I wasn't supposed to give you my number or whatever?" And stuff like that. He was just like, "Nah, give me your social media or whatever and stuff like that. We talking." So I give him my social media, and he DMs me like right then and there or whatever. Of course, it gets lost in the DMs, and I go on about my business, go back to the section, and I don't go down to his section because like I went looking for it, but I couldn't find it, and I was just like, "Oh well," like, and just left it at that. One thing I will say is that, like, because I have really good guidance and counsel. I have a life coach. I also have, like, I call her my spiritual mom, my God mom. She went to church, went to a church with me that I keep in contact from St. Louis. And I said, like, she told me or whatever, she was like, "You said you were going to meet somebody that day, but did you ask God what was their purpose in your life and why were you supposed to meet them?" And I wish I would have. I probably would have saved myself a lot of time or whatever, and been a little further along with like what I have going on now, actually.
Yeah. Okay. But oh my God, it's just so romantic because you are great. I love to hear you tell a story, Chrissy, because you just really paint the full picture, the details, everything. So just want to thank you for your energy. And so you guys met and then you started dating. Now, at the time, did you know that he was on TV or movies and things like that? Or when did you find out he had a little bit of profile that you may have not realized when you first met him?
Girl, okay, so let me go ahead and tell you. I'm so happy that I'm having this conversation with you or whatever to talk about my experience, like in detail. So, girl, I ended up knowing like right off the bat or whatever. But like, I also have like a small background where I could have went into like film and different things like that. I've done like production work, behind the scenes work, all of that kind of stuff or whatever. So it really didn't like. I know the real struggle. I know like how long it takes for your checks to come and stuff like that or whatever.
Yeah.
don't look at that as much unless you like Giselle, like Idris Alba or something like that or whatever. I don't look at that as like a high valued position, if that makes any sense.
Gotcha.
Like when I say actually make it, you're doing something like Terrence Howard or something like that. Like really, really like into it. You've been on
Yeah.
multiple
Productions, movies. Yeah.
like that or whatever, or shows. Not to knock that, and even like just different things like that. So he tells me right away or whatever. He's like, "What?" Like he was like, I was asking about him or whatever when we first met, and he was just like, "Oh, I'm an actor," and I was just like, "Okay, that's nice."
Because this is Atlanta. It's Atlanta. Like, so everybody's doing something.
I have had the privilege of having a great dating background behind him or whatever. Look, I ain't dropping no names or nothing like that, but when you know, you know. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. So this ain't your first rodeo when it comes to someone maybe who might be considered famous.
Like I enjoy to have. I'm not gonna say that or whatever, but I pride myself on putting myself around high value men or whatever. But sometimes
there you go.
The cracks, if I'll say that.
Okay. So that's on the record, ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching. We're talking about dating and we're talking about Chrissy's ex-boyfriend or ex-relationship. And she was just sharing, hey, I keep a high profile, around me. That's your whole energy. And I think that's important because that's a reflection of you, right? It's like, I love myself. I see myself as X, Y, and Z. So I won't have people around me who don't at least match that or could go even higher. And I think that's so powerful.
Yeah, whether if they be just friends, because I have people that I know that are just friends, or people that I've dated or whatever. Like I didn't. This was like I guess my longest dating experience, or my most impactful dating experience as an adult for reasons I would say that I learned from. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because I never like to victimize myself, and I'm never going to like talk down on somebody like that. His experience was his experience, my experience was my experience.
Right.
But back to the story or whatever. So he tells me, he's like, "Yeah, I'm an actor." I'm all like, "Okay, actor," or whatever. And he's like, I said, "I hope that works out for you." Like, really successful in that, and it works out for you. And he looks at me, he's like, "What? I'm on the hottest show right now on Hulu, da 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 da," like popping his stuff like that's how he is, how he was, or whatever. I was like, "Oh, okay." And my butt says, "Are you on?" I said, "Oh, you're on Power." He like looks at me or whatever, like with this stank face, and he was like, "No." So he tells me about the Wu-Tang. I was like, "Oh, I know about the Wu-Tang or whatever." My dad and my uncles used to listen to that type of music and stuff like that or whatever. I didn't know. I'll check it out.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of leave that alone too or whatever and stuff like that. And actually, when we actually started talking or whatever, it was maybe like 2 weeks after we exchanged information. I was just like, the dude was kind of cool or whatever. I had like it was like somebody. It's always somebody in the background, right? Somebody in the background. They did something that I really didn't care for or whatever, and I decided to like, I'm like, I'm gonna get a guy a call or whatever. I was like, he was kind of funny or whatever and stuff like that. So I looked through my DMs, found him or whatever, and like just said, "Hey."
Mm-hmm.
And we was from there or whatever. He was quick. I'm like, he was very pursuant. He was just like, he was out of town at the time, still shooting, and he was like, "I'll be home in 2 days." I told him I had something to do. I had a party to attend at that time or whatever. So like maybe like 3-4 days after he got in town or whatever, we started talking. And that's kind of like how that started. That was the start of it.
That's so romantic from this perspective, right? Like she's like,
The beginning is always nice, I would say.
The honeymoon phase. And so I said like the honeymoon phase. So, okay, so you guys meet. It seems like there's something there. And let's just say you guys were boyfriend and girlfriend for quite some time, right? Or for an amount of time. Tell me about what was the red flags that you were just like, this guy's kind of switching on me, because I feel like as women and men, but I'm really going to talk to the ladies. Sometimes we don't recognize the red flags when we're in a relationship or even in a situation that feels good, but it might not be good for you. So tell me about some of the, maybe one or two stories, or one story that like comes off the top of your head where you was like, I don't know about this. I'm starting to get a little different, like kind of indifferent about him. Because like y'all were talking marriage. I know, was that something that came up, like family and just kind of grow, like really being serious?
That was something that came up or whatever. I will say like, so I can give the real to you guys, to your people, because it's just like talking to you or whatever. And I know the type of audience that that I'm sure that follows you or whatever, like it's some of our friends and stuff like that. I'll say that you know when you know. You know, sometimes you're trying to make something work or whatever. I made a decision to talk to him, and I was kind of sticking by it. I had some friends that was seeing certain things or whatever, and it wasn't nothing big. It was just like his mannerisms and different things like that, the intangibles. Do not ignore the intangibles or anything like that or whatever. But that I just kind of kept looking at it, whatever. So I would say like he ended up blocking me off of his story. And to give you the little bit more insight to that or whatever, I was just like, why is he blocking me off his story? It was like right before my birthday, September like 2022 or whatever, right before Libra season, I'll say, not my birthday, because like we party all Libra season or whatever.
Yes. And we are in Libra season. We're in Libra season now. So it's full circle, right? Like, I love that.
So it was the beginning of Libra season, and that year we kind of alternate going out of town or whatever. We going to Miami with a really good friend and my god sister. We were going on our trip, but before then, he blocked me off his story or whatever. He was like at some premieres and different things like that or whatever. And it was very alarming to me or whatever. I was like, why is he blocking me off his story or whatever? Because everybody got another page, but I have a past business page, but I actually don't have what is it, a ghost page or something like that that people
they call it a Finsta. Yeah.
off my regular page, and then he actually, but he didn't block me off of my previous business page. Was I was the event planner. People know that I used to do a lot of NFL and NBA weddings and stuff like that or whatever. And I was actually, you know how sometimes your page switches over to that, and I saw something or whatever. But then when I switched back over, I didn't see it again. So that was the alarm that went off that he was blocking me off his page or whatever. So and my cousins and stuff like that, they look at his page and stuff like that, and I had just expressed it with them, so it caused a red alarm for them or whatever, and they was looking at it too. I'm very close to my father. I think a great relationship with your father, if you can have one, or very good male influences in your life, is really, really good. And so I ran it by him. I was like, Dad, like, you know, I've been dating this guy, you know. My daddy never liked him, I would say, or whatever, but my daddy is a real dude, you know. He's a real dude. He was just like, yeah, he just kind of like called it out the gate, I will say, or whatever, but I was just like, give him grace. I like him, different things like that. So I told my dad what happened. I think he blocked me off his story or whatever. I'm gonna block him because like me and my father talk like that. Like I'm about to block him because he blocked me. And my dad told me, he was like, "Don't do that, Chrissy, because if he finds out that you blocked him, then it's all gonna be all on you. It's gonna make it a you thing instead of a him thing or whatever. If you're not ready to address it, don't say anything or whatever." When I saw like a female on there and stuff like that, I wasn't ready to address it. But I had already blocked him, girl.
Okay. I was gonna say, did something happen to where he blocked you? Like, did y'all get in an argument? Did y'all like fall out? It just was out of nowhere. How long were y'all dating when he did this?
I seen a girl picture on there or whatever. We know how we are. I went on here to screenshot that mug and was like, I need to pay attention to this. I wasn't ready to say anything because everything was kind of okay. So I wasn't ready to say anything, but when you feel your gut, I listen to my gut because my discernment don't lie. You know?
Right.
So I just kind of left it alone or whatever. Went out of town, girl. First time that he kind of flipped on me or whatever. And so when I was out of town or whatever, I had already blocked him, but I thought I had unblocked him. But sometimes I'm not as savvy as I think I am, and I didn't unblock him.
Mm-hmm.
Girl, he had a fit because. So this is the real tea. Let me give you the real tea, little extra.
Please do drink it.
So I'm out of town or whatever, and it was like a guy that we were literally on a boat. It was so random or whatever. I had rented a boat for my god sister. That was my present to her. And so we're having a Sunday fun day. My god mom is there, my god sisters are there, and we like riding jets on this boat, and it's just us women or whatever. So this guy approaches the boat. He's on a jet ski. But then he calls over his friend, like, "Ooh, it's some cute girls over there," or something like that. You know how it is when you're on vacation. Let's be real. And
right.
So this other guy comes up. Why is this somebody that I used to talk to? Like, and it's one of those high profile men or whatever. And he comes over and he's just like, like, so I didn't see him at first or whatever. I'm popping my stuff, taking my pictures off on the top of the boat and stuff like that or whatever. So my god sister yells out his name and she's like, "Yeah, Chrissy upstairs or whatever." And he looks up there, he's like, "Dang, you look good," all of this kind of stuff. Like, I ain't seen you in a minute. You still look good, Chrissy, or whatever. And he gets on the boat. So my, like, not my friend, just my friend, but my god sister is taping this because, like I said, wasn't nobody really respecting my relationship, I will say, or whatever, because they just kind of felt like it wasn't going like I should. That's what I'll say. And
okay,
you can fill in the line for what you want to fill in. So she's taping this, so she knows that he has like me on. He's following her too, or whatever. So he's following her. I don't realize that I've still got him blocked or whatever. And he sees, I'm not gonna lie, this fine, real in shape guy, flirting with me or whatever. And so I promise you, like maybe like less than 30 minutes to an hour later, here he comes or whatever, and sending my message like, "You blocked me, da da da." He started an argument. This is our first argument. I'm all like, "What do you mean?" He's like, and it was exactly how my dad said it was gonna be. It was just he was saying that it was my fault. I blocked him or whatever, and I told him what's good. Like I told his mama this too. What's good for the goose is good for the gander or whatever. You can block me off of your page and all of those different things or whatever. But when I do it, I'm wrong. That's
it's a problem.
You don't want me. If you don't want me blocking you, don't block me or whatever. And you can't be mad at what you see or whatever and different things like that. I wasn't doing anything wrong. And one thing I had to let him know or whatever. Men approach me all the time or whatever. But if I'm in a relationship or if I'm in a situation that I feel seen in, that's what it is. I'm not rude, but I'm very direct in letting people know, like, hey, I'm in a relationship or hey, I'm talking to someone or something like that. Because I think that is something that we should do or whatever to show respect to the others. If you want respect, you got to give respect.
Exactly. Okay, so for no reason in particular, he blocks you.
Yes.
Then you block him because Petty LaBelle, what you mean? Then he sees you on your god sister's page, and that's y'all's first argument. Now, Chrissy, let me ask you this: were y'all like super public? Because him being like, let's say I'm gonna say Hollywood. I'm gonna say Black Hollywood because we're in Atlanta, and shout out to ATL with it. So us being in Black Hollywood, and people talk. Atlanta's small. And so if someone goes public, like, oh, if you take a picture with somebody at an event or anything of that nature, it's like, oh, he's with her, she's with him. Maybe you had your reservations for going full out public, but like, did y'all share each other on social media? Was it a public relationship or did you guys kind of keep your privacy or whatever? What do you think?
So I'm a private person. I like to keep my relationship or my encounters with people that I allow into that kind of space private. That's what I prefer.
Okay.
That was some pushback from him or whatever and stuff like that. It was, but it wasn't private or anything like that. Like, so it was public. It was public enough. Like he would be with comment on my pictures. As you know, he would comment on my pictures. He would put me in his stories and different things like that or whatever. And it was pushed back for me to do the same. And I did, but I've been taught reputation is everything or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like I'm gonna quote somebody on this or whatever, but like I love how Taraji P. Henson said, like, you don't get seen until I get a ring. I don't
Hey!
until that happens or whatever. So I kind of went a little against my grain, but I still kept it very private or whatever. I didn't post anything that would actually be seen long term or whatever because like you ain't gonna hold how much in here. And
right.
I say like you never know who is like looking at you or like prospecting you for maybe their potential mate or for their friends and different things like that or whatever. Because what I tried to make private, they were just like, no, we seen this guy. Who is he? Like,
okay,
or whatever. Shout out to my ex. He probably a ghost watcher. No, I'm just joking. Like he pulled me aside. I went home to St. Louis or whatever. He's like, "Who's this guy that you're dating or whatever?" I told him, "You don't have no business in there or whatever." Like I was really riding for my relationship at that time or whatever because that's what I wanted in my life. You know, like
yep.
You have to put intentionality. You have to like put work into where you want to be. And it was more so at that time. I was enjoying the relationship, but where I wanted to be was in a relationship. So I gave him a chance, if that makes any sense or whatever. But like I was ready for a relationship in my life or whatever, whether it was him or somebody else or whatever or anything like that. Because like I said, where you put intention is where it's going to grow. But of course, also I do believe in like the right one comes along and all that kind of stuff. But I feel like I was putting a little bit more work in it than I probably
They
should have.
wanted to. And I appreciate you sharing that, being transparent, because like I said, on this show, well, this is only episode 3. Okay. So we're building this thing out, but I love to hear women share their personal story because while we can rock it in career, we can rock it in moving around and really just being carefree, beautiful women, women of the times. But like many of us have sincere desires. And Chrissy, I know one of yours is to be married. I do think we talked about this before. You are a wife in waiting, which means that I'm a wife now, but maybe I just don't have my husband or I'm not actually in a marriage. And so tell me a little bit before we jump ship. I want to talk about how y'all broke up because again, 2 years meeting each other. Did you guys met each other's family? Did you tell me about that? So y'all met each other's family. Did he meet your people? You met his people?
Oh, that was another red flag. I met his people. I met his mom and all those different things or whatever. And he met some people in my family or whatever.
And where is he from, Chrissy? Where is he from?
Actually, Staten Island originally or whatever. His folks live in Jersey or whatever.
Okay. So New York, Jersey vibe.
Area, yeah.
Okay.
So one of the red flags to me was that he wasn't willing to come meet my family or whatever in person. Like, he met people like one-offs here and there or whatever and stuff like that. Like my favorite cousin, my aunt, they came to visit, all of those different things. Even my grandmother. But like I needed to bring him around, and this is very important, ladies. I needed to bring him around the men to vet him. I already told you my daddy really didn't care for him or whatever, so my daddy didn't even want to meet him, but I at least wanted to bring him around my uncles and stuff like that or whatever. We really get around. I mean, we do a big Thanksgiving every year or whatever. And within the second part of our relationship or whatever, the second year, I wanted him to come to Thanksgiving, but he insisted on me coming to meet his family. Well, not me because I had already met them, but spend it with his family or whatever in a more intimate setting. And I really didn't push it back because the women in my family or whatever, they was just like, give it time. He the only child, so that means that like his family's gonna be missing him in the holidays or whatever. You can always come home and bring him home on another occasion. You know, we always get together. This is what one of the matriarchs in my family, my Aunt Ruthie, shout out to Aunt Ruthie. That's what she told me actually do. And she was like, you got to give and take or whatever. If anybody know me, I love my family. I'm gonna show up all if I can or anything like that or whatever. And it was really kind of heartbreaking for me not to be able to spend that time with my family, knowing that I was going to spend Christmas with his, and then having to spend both holidays. I felt like that was very selfish. So,
Yep.
red flag.
So you're sacrificing a little more than he was.
Exactly. So, like, as women, we do that or whatever, but at the same time or whatever, I feel like that we have to give a little pushback. You can be sweet, sweet. You ain't got to be all mean and different things like that or whatever, but stand on business. What you want, don't compromise. Let that nigga, excuse me language, let that guy.
You can say that. We real around here. You can speak your real language. Yep.
Husband. So let him go with his family or whatever, his little family and all of that kind of stuff or whatever.
True.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's what ended up happening during the holidays. I spent Christmas with them, and that was I really kind of had my mind made up. Like after Christmas or whatever, I knew stuff is still going on in the background or whatever, and it had becoming more and more prevalent from that first time when I saw that girl's picture or whatever to just how he was acting. Like I said, don't take your intuition lightly or whatever. Because I had started telling him like, go in your ear because this ain't normally how you like talk. This ain't how you move or whatever and stuff like that. And it became very prevalent when we were in Africa because we went to Africa or whatever. I had a friend that was getting married in South Africa. Shout out to Joburg. And just had some really good friends or whatever. So we had spent some time over there. His mom wanted to come. I was very open with that. His dad was supposed to come, but then he ended up having some work things or whatever that didn't happen and all of that kind of stuff. And I got to see more intangibles. I got to be like when you're around people, that's another part of dating or whatever. Be around their family too or whatever. Be around them so you can see what they're not telling you or whatever. With a specific particular way. Like I said, I come from two loving households or whatever. My mom and dad are still friends to this day or whatever. My daddy got her back. My mama got his back or whatever, even though it didn't work out and they had their differences or whatever. I come from that or whatever. Like both of my families like are at all the large events like in our lives, spend holidays together, all of that kind of stuff. It's nobody on my dad's side that's not welcome to my mom's side. It's nobody on my mom's side that's not welcome to my dad's side. And we have kept that up or whatever. Like, so,
good.
Yeah. So like for him, it ain't like that. Like
now, I was going to ask: were his parents married or are they together?
They're married. They're together. Yeah.
Okay. And we don't have to go any further because I will say because I did when in my single season I had a wife coach. She was online, but she was a good coach, and she would say that if you came from a home where maybe it was not both parents together in the home, then you should probably you should date. No, she didn't say it sweet. She's like, if you come from a family and your mom and daddy went together, you need to get with somebody whose parents are still together. Meaning you can't have two people who are both coming from broken homes trying to come together because it's going to be a lot harder for y'all to come together. And I took her advice and it worked for me. That was something that I saw as like a big green flag, right? Because no relationship is perfect. No marriage is perfect. But if you are Black and American, then the minimum of a two-parent home is definitely somewhat of a luxury. This is how it is. It's like an advantage or some kind of like, oh, this is my opinion, obviously, but it does help, right? Because when you get into a relationship, that person may or may not emulate what they saw, or if they didn't have both, then they're going to create their own, form of what they think should be. And that's another reason why we're sharing this conversation because things are different, right? In the 80s, that's when me and you was growing up, child, it wasn't no Black folks together like that. Okay. So we are just like Kendrick Lamar, he called us babies, insert word babies. We're not that. It rhymes with Jack, okay? But we're not those babies, but we came from a very dark time in the African American community. You know what I'm saying? And talking about where we was like our generation, millennials. But we now have a choice to decide, you know what I'm saying, how you want to paint your life. But we didn't really have much of an example as a collective. And so we kind of just had to find those examples. But it sounds like, Chrissy, and this is true too, just because somebody parents together don't mean that that's what you want or whatever. And yeah, so what you think about that? Just like family and being able to create your own version of success or healthy relationship.
But I would say in this age or whatever, like I'm very spiritual or whatever, and I have a Christian background or whatever. But the word says that in the end days, men will be lovers of themselves, and I see that that's happening or whatever. And when I say that or whatever, what comes to mind with me or whatever, people know how to love themselves and know how to be selfish or whatever, but they don't know how to love properly somebody else. So I do that or whatever. Usually when people are married or whatever, they're selfless and they want to, they want to help their partner, want their partner to succeed in a healthy relationship. Sometimes things aren't healthy. You know what I mean? And from what I know or whatever, it wasn't as it was. Some of the love was there or whatever, and on his side or whatever, but it wasn't as healthy as he would have liked it to be.
Yeah.
I don't have to get into details because that's his story to tell.
Right.
But what I will say is that, like, I come from a loving family. Now, my mom wasn't taking no mess off my daddy or whatever. You know that or whatever. And like, even at an early age, like, I know my daddy loved my mom or whatever, but they probably weren't the best to be together or whatever. But they made me and created me out of love.
Yep.
And that's why I'm able to be close to both sides of my family or whatever. That's why I'm able to like exude love in all relationships, so whether it be friendships or like partnerships or like romantic relationships, or whatever, they can feel that love that came from me.
Yeah.
Thing or whatever, like to go surpass just having a relationship or whatever, or being with somebody that parents was together and stuff like that or whatever, is that I said anybody that I get with, anybody that I create with, create or create anything with or whatever, has to come from real, true, genuine agape love, like for real, because that's what I am. My uncle one time told me or whatever, Chrissy, you're such a big giver at heart. You have to get with a giver, because if you get with a taker, they're gonna take everything you got. That means sometimes that means monetary, and sometimes that means emotionally, physically, spiritual.
True.
If they energy vampire, they take over whatever energy you got. That's
true.
Like I said, I also recognize those things or whatever, and I refuse to be attached to something like that.
Yeah.
And I deserve better than that, because, like I said, I came from true, genuine love or whatever. My daddy did some of the things that he did or whatever. My mama did some of the things that she did, but I can generally say that they love each other. Had other kids, other relationships. They both were in long-term relationships. Both had gotten remarried and stuff like that or whatever. But they honored the first commitment that they made, and that was me. So
that's what's part of your story, right? And it's not your full story, because now you get to write your own, which is kind of what we're talking about today. So tell me about, okay, y'all broke up. What was that like? Because eventually it ended. Like eventually y'all just not together no more. You saw red flags. You met the family. You're like, what was what broke the camel's back to where y'all was just like, you finally found the strength to be like, yeah, I don't want to be with you no more. Because 2 years, some women would be like, I just got to stay because I love my man. You know how the ladies can be. But you found the strength to be like, you know what? You got it. I don't want to do this no more. I'm good. So what broke the camel's back to where Chrissy was like, goodbye?
Well, what broke the camel's back or whatever, I was coming to that conclusion because something was going on. But
okay.
honestly say or whatever, like I was going through some things or whatever. Like I found myself pregnant out of wedlock, all of those different things, because I was doing some things that I wasn't supposed to be doing or whatever. And like I was listening to some bullcrap that I wasn't supposed to be listening to, like that my partner was like being married, all of this kind of stuff or whatever. I would say, women, you're not married until you're married. Okay,
Yep.
period or whatever. So don't let people fill your head up and put you in a position that you have to make some decisions that you probably don't want to make, or to be detrimental to your health. And that's all I can say.
Okay.
I was in a real crazy situation or whatever where I found myself pregnant and I was having really bad complications or whatever, where I was put into the hospital or whatever when we were out of town. We were in New York. I was put into the hospital. Thank God that I was there because we already know like initiatives. I don't per se believe in abortion or anything like that or termination in those aspects. This is something that we need to talk about too, ladies or whatever. But I think, like even politically, they both need to come together and think about some things or whatever. Because
Yeah.
I started hemorrhaging when I was out of town or whatever and stuff like that. Like my body was like going through the process. But a little bit about me or whatever. I had very low iron levels,
Mm-hmm.
and the when I went to get checked on and all of that kind of stuff or whatever, I had started dilating and all of that kind of
Mm-hmm.
stuff for labor, and they had to make the decision. Thank God I was in New York at the time or whatever. They had to make the decision to terminate the pregnancy or take the pregnancy because if I would have continued to bleed, I wouldn't be here to tell my story.
Mm.
I went through that. I feel comfortable enough to say that I went through that kind of by myself or whatever.
I was gonna say, was he there at the time?
No, he was not. Like he was. I think he was very fearful and scared. Like of what was coming. It started becoming very real to him. Or whatever. Because some people
Yeah.
fantasize things or whatever, but they're not really ready or capable, mentally capable of actually going through certain things like that. Like going through the process of, hey, my girlfriend might be pregnant, I might be a father, and all of that kind of stuff or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's true, just like in anything else. You're either gonna fight or you're gonna fly. Fly. Yeah. So his mom was there, of course.
Okay.
Whatever, and she was scared. Like all of us were scared or whatever and stuff like that. She waited on me. Um, at the doctor's office or whatever. I don't think that she per se waited on me because since she knew her son was like wrong or whatever. She was asking certain questions like, have you heard from Johnny or all of those different things. And I'm like, no, I had not or whatever, but I was like, it's not alarming. I know that he said that he had to go back for work or whatever. Maybe he was on set or all of that kind of stuff or whatever. That's what I was thinking in my head or whatever. I literally, but like, we wasn't really, I don't know, something in my spirit. My grandma came to me in a dream and she was just like, I got you.
Yeah.
And like I woke up like that night, that's when I woke up when I knew it was like some issues with the problems or whatever that I had to hurry up and get back to the hospital. Because before they were trying to like come up with solutions to help my iron get up, come up with my hemoglobin levels and stuff like that or whatever. But it went from that to like
life threatening.
Whatever. So like that into premature kind of like labor or started dilating or whatever. My grandma came to me. I woke up in pain. And the dream was very peaceful, and she was there. I could just see it to this day or whatever. She was kind of reminding me what my position was. Like, you are a Proverbs 31 woman. You are a wife. We were preparing. I was preparing her for a wedding, which is ironic or whatever. And even though, like, in the dream, I could sense it was my wedding or something like that or whatever, I was still preparing her or whatever for it because, like, that's normally what I do. Like, of course, I was in wedding class.
Doing events, yeah.
Me or whatever. It was two, my grandmother and my aunt in the room or whatever. And my aunt was brushing us and different things like that or whatever. And my grandmother gave me a hug and she said it was going to be okay.
Yeah.
And that's all she said or whatever and all that kind of stuff. And I woke up and I was in pain. And nobody was there. I was by myself. It was the scariest thing ever to be in a situation by yourself. When I say wait on your person. Wait on your person because I know my person that is out there or whatever is gonna be by my side no matter what or whatever. And that's big because I'm loyal to a flaw. I want a man that's loyal to the flaw.
Exactly.
But like his mom was there and stuff like that or whatever, and she was very scared because like when I was on the table or whatever, like I almost didn't make it out, like because it was big because like I was losing too much blood. Couldn't even really. They normally wasn't even supposed to do this procedure because they knew that I would lose too much blood, and like I could be out of here or whatever. And that literally,
oh my goodness.
went from there. I got back home literally like maybe 2 days afterwards or whatever, or taking some rest. Came back, didn't have no car. Now allegedly, everybody saying, even the police was like, "Oh, he did, he took it or whatever." I remember I'm calling his mom or whatever, like, "Hey, I got home and my car is gone. What the hell?" Like, I don't know, like, and Janelle's not answering the phone or whatever. What's going on? And she
Did he have a key to your car?
Girl, I think he took it. Well, I don't know. If it's going to get a key, that's all I can say.
And this is I know you got this is a luxury car, right? Is it a car that you had worked hard for?
It ain't my Lambo yet.
Hey, but it's the Audi truck. It was an Audi or just a nice car that you worked hard for. And you come home and it's gone?
It was gone, girl. It was gone. And like the police is like, "Oh yeah, the such and such car was parked next to you." And he was referring to John Mills. He's like, "Isn't that your guy?" He comes around because police stays at my building. Like they pay attention or whatever. Like, and I'm always verbal with them and stuff like that or whatever. So he was like, "Yeah, I think this is it." He's on talking to the other police when they came by. He like, "Yeah, I think this is domestic situation." I'm like, "No, that's not it. No, that's I was trying to call him, like, but I just got his down or whatever. Like, I don't think that's what happened." So I called his mom, asked his mom, and she says, "Girl, special P." She's like, "So are you trying to say that Janelle stole your car because you're mad at him and you gave him the keys to your car?" This is what she's saying. It's very strategic. And you gave him the keys to the car, and now that you're mad at him, you're trying to say he stole it, and you called the police because you're mad at him. I was all like, "What the hell, lady? You know everything I just went through and all this kind of stuff, whatever." No, I'm saying I got home and my car was gone. And I'm trying to figure out where it's at. And I'm trying to have a breakdown and all of this kind of stuff or whatever and stuff like that. But now you just said, "Hey, you're making me think that your son did it." Okay. So that's how it went or whatever and stuff like that. And then my god sister, being the one that she is or whatever, she was just like, "Let's check his page." Like later on the night after, like I finally like confessed what was happening and stuff like that. So hey, I was blocked off there again, but I wasn't even looking at social media because of everything that I had just went through.
Right.
So he's like, let's check his. She was like, "Let's check his page." So she had already checked his page. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. And she was just like, she had saw like the billboard that he put up of this other young lady or whatever. So he had kind of mentioned that he was like doing some things for promotion and stuff like that or whatever, and we was gonna have to kind of like like become more private with our relationship. But I was just like, "No, you're not hiding me. I'm sorry, I'm not one to be hid. I pride myself up to the upper echelon.
Right.
Not want to be hid or whatever and stuff like that. And if that's what you want to do, we can end this now." I remember saying that. He, of course, was like, "No, no, no, no," or whatever. So he started blocking me off the story again and stuff like that. And this lady had posted him or whatever, and we ain't giving no shout out. Sorry.
Yeah, some random girl out of nowhere post a billboard
Or whatever, and was just talking about how she was upgrading him and getting him out of whatever he was getting in or whatever. And I felt very attacked at that moment or whatever because, like I said, I went through all of that stuff for myself, and then like now here I'm going through this or whatever. I went through all this sadness, rage, everything or whatever. I was just so mad or whatever and stuff like that. And but at the same time, I have class and a reputation to for sure protect because that's something that's very valuable to me. or whatever, I had to go through those things alone. I ended up deciding to go into counseling because I knew I wasn't coming back. I mean, like right afterwards or whatever, like I went, like I was mad. I'm calling his mama, I'm calling him, and all this kind of stuff or whatever. And like when he started calling me back, I had blocked him and stuff like that. He shows up at my door. He shows up at my door or whatever. I actually had a guy cousin that was in. He didn't answer the door because he was a little nervous, like maybe he had a gun or something like that or whatever. Because I had, even though my car was gone, I took my cousin's car to church or whatever, and thank God that I did or whatever, because I do carry and I'm licensed to carry all that kind of stuff, and I can't say that I was in my right mind at the time or whatever.
Oh wow. I'm gonna say, did you feel threatened by him? Because I mean, I couldn't imagine all the emotional things. Your body went through some stuff. I know your mind all over the place. Then this thing, dude. Then you got some random content on social media that's very triggering and alarming. Billboard, if you will, and it's supposed to be your man, but then he's sitting around, come knocking on your door. What was you? Did you feel threatened in that moment?
I did feel threatened, and I'm not a person to flee. I'm a fighter all day long, and so I didn't want it. Like, but at the same time, I didn't want that to be or whatever. I've always been taught. Shout out to my uncle Larry. It's his birthday today. You gotta call him.
Happy birthday!
Not giving a raise or whatever. But anyway, I remember him telling me a long time ago, like when I was like starting the dating journey, if there is a departing factor, it's like no matter big or small or whatever, if they're not the one, it'll always be a departing factor. And I led off to that, and I use that in my dating life or whatever. And I believe like when you're ready, and when you know, or whatever. Mm-hmm. And like, I clinged on to that for a long time. But like in my new truth, because I wanted to speak to that too with women. I don't want to keep in a trauma space or in a negative space or whatever. My new truth, I'm saying that if they are the person that's supposed to stay around, it'll be nothing that can stop them from staying around or whatever. They'll always keep showing up. There'll always be a reoccurring factor or whatever and stuff like that. And I'm excited about exploring that, like in a healthy space. Like, yeah, we go stuff or whatever. Even healthy relationships. I'm sure your husband has done something that you had to tell him, you hurt my feelings or something like that or whatever. But when
that's just human.
You're ready and willing to stay and do that work. I wasn't ready to stay to do that work after going through all of that. I said, I'm getting the hell out. And I told him, okay. He's like, back, please, no.
And then listen, and this is why I love these conversations, because we're talking to the new woman. Okay, we had I keep talking about our grandmothers. I mean, I am a grandma's girl, so hey, Johnny Bell. But we were raised or spent a lot of time around the elder Black women, right? So we're talking about women in the 60s, 50s and 60s woman. So I'm thinking Detroit, St. Louis, like the Great Migration, like the Southern belles, very demure, not just Southern, but American, the American belles, very demure, very mindful, even across races, right? Not just white women, Black women, Indian women. You don't talk back. You do this, you do that. You make sure you cook, make all these rules on womanhood, the Stepford Wives, the Desperate Housewives. But then we have evolved, and then our moms became more of like the working women. The 90s woman, she got a little bit more independent. She found her voice just a little bit, and she decided like, okay, I don't have to stay. But I really think those women were not prioritizing a relationship because they saw their moms in relationships that they had to just deal with, right? And women didn't have the same rights that we have now. They couldn't own property. They couldn't open bank accounts and things like that. But now, fast forward to 2024, we are women of today. And so, Chrissy, I love how you said you decided, you know what, I'm leaving. I don't have to stay here. I don't have to wait to exhale, baby. I'm finna start breathing right now, right? So I love that for you. I'm so glad you were able to just sit here and just release that energy and really share with the audience what it looks like to be resilient and find your stride even in a dark time. So leaving a toxic relationship, it does take strength. What what does it look like now? Because you already did it, so I'm gonna speak in present tense. You decided to prioritize your peace over the relationship. How does Chrissy J now? What advice would you tell Chrissy J today from Chrissy J during the same season where y'all were together? Like, because I feel like it's not the same person. It's two different people. So what would you tell her? Like, is she in the dark? She going through it. She just got off that table. Her car stolen. All this stuff to happen. What would you tell her? Yourself, who you were. Like, what advice would you tell her? Be like I don't know. Like, what would you tell her?
You at that time or whatever, 'cause I put myself in that position or whatever. Like I said, ignoring some of those red flags and different things like that, doing some things that I probably shouldn't have done or whatever and stuff like that, and letting somebody else decide. Basically, even with getting into that situation, letting somebody else decide that for me, trying to catch me up because men do try to catch women up. I will say that or whatever and all of that kind of stuff. So, be like I said, being the spiritual person that I am or whatever, I do not take lightly lightly my actions or whatever, and I understand that there's consequences from my actions or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So what I would tell myself or whatever, go through it. You got to go through it to get through it, and listen to your inner voice, listen to God, listen to your Creator and all of those different things. Because when I never asked God, like I said, my spiritual mom said, did you ask like why you were going to meet that person? I never asked God that or whatever. One of the other things is that I never prayed that prayer because I didn't want to or whatever. Because it is a powerful prayer. We all know that prayer or whatever. That they not the one for me, take it away or whatever. I wanted what I wanted or whatever. And when you operate in your you operate in God's permissive will instead of his, well, I guess submissive will, or either or vice versa or whatever. If you're not operating in his perfect will or whatever, you are subject to whatever you expose yourself to. And you know that. Like I innately knew that, but I made a choice and decision because sometimes we think about like our grandmothers and stuff like that or whatever. Love is hard. I didn't get to see my grandma in the hard space of love. I got to see her in a very, very loving relationship or whatever. She let my granddaddy go, my real granddaddy. And shout out to Pappy or whatever, because that was my stand-in granddaddy or whatever. I don't know no difference or whatever. No disrespect to my real grandfather, because I learned a lot from him too or whatever. But he stood in the gap or whatever, and she was always loved. Like she loved me right now, still from him or whatever. Still respecting her. Still won't bring no woman to her house and different things like that or whatever. So, and my other grandmother or whatever, she didn't stand for it either from my grandfather. My mother did not stand for her from my dad. And that's where I'm from or whatever. And I'm okay with that or whatever. Because if it's not right, I'm not gonna stay in it or whatever. And so like that's what people do. And abusers try to make you feel like that you have to stay or whatever. And I speak to that from a different space or whatever. I'm not calling anybody an abuser or whatever because I'm never a victim. I'm always a victor or whatever. I'm not calling it. I want that to be clear.
Yes.
Allegations there or whatever. But I do understand that to be a victor or whatever, you have to take responsibility and initiative or whatever. What I did ask God when it was time to go or whatever is that I was like, I'm ready, Lord. I'm ready, Lord, or whatever. I don't want your will. I want my will. And I ain't never seen that ever since or whatever. After that traumatic experience or whatever. And I am grateful for that or whatever. And I stand in my truth or whatever. Like I know what God has for me, all those different things or whatever. And like I'm still living. I'm still human.
Exactly.
Whatever. I also would tell women to choose you.
Yeah.
For the right reasons. Don't be selfish. I don't want to mess up my body. I don't want to do this or whatever and stuff like that. Like, I'm saying, like, you don't have enough money, he's 6 foot and different things like that. I'm just going to stay single because I'm going to enjoy my single life or whatever and stuff like that, and ignoring your responsibilities because we are challenged with responsibilities in this world or whatever to become those mothers, become those responsible women, become those wives and stuff like that or whatever. And I had a great time in my single season or whatever. But I my wifehood.
Yep.
If you look at women in the Bible when they were preparing for their wifehood, it takes time or whatever. And
it does.
I I'm in this new space or whatever, or I'm pruning and all of that kind of stuff or whatever, and I'm loving this space or whatever. I'm choosing me. I'm saying no to the wrong things for the right reasons.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, and like I'm going, like I said, I'm going from there or whatever. I'll say even in my healing journey with experiencing another relationship and different things like that or whatever, experiencing another person. Um, I'll say like yeah, I was on my healing journey. Yeah, I went through counseling and stuff like that, made it through it successfully or whatever, and found some things or whatever. But there's still some things that I had to prune in and get me ready for or whatever. And I'm glad for the grace or whatever, and for the person that I kind of like. With me or whatever, and like because like I was fighting or fleeting in my dating area or whatever after this or whatever for fear that I might go through the same emotions that I experienced with that other person or whatever. But with that other person, I was out of the covenant because the first covenant is with God, and then he
right.
your husband, and then you make that covenant. I'm waiting on that Lord, Brandon.
Hey, we gonna bring it into the atmosphere. All you have to do is speak it. And I'm just so grateful for your story. And I think you just did this, but what is some advice you can give? Because like I said, this platform is a space for women making an impact in the community. I know you are huge on community, and for the sake of time, we won't go all the way into that. But I will ask you this: what advice do you have for women who are wanting to date better? I like the word better, right? It don't have to be perfect, but just if you want to just date better, get better, be better, what are some tips or advice you can give? Because for another sister, she'll probably be like, he was on TV? Oh, I ain't never met nobody on TV. Like it's levels, you know what I'm saying? So for you, of course, that's nothing new. But for others, that might have been like, oh, it's a big thing, or what? It's a lot of narratives there. So, in your opinion, what advice you can give to a woman who just wants to date better? Like she just wants better than what she's used to. What advice can you give her?
It's so cliche because like some people say it, or but it's has so much truth. Do your inner work. Do your inner work or whatever. I'm a big advocate. I'm gonna plug it anyway or whatever. Yes, I am in the community and different things like that. I have a nonprofit organization called Peace of Mind Organization where we like work with people, give them resources and different things like that or whatever for counseling, like if you've been abused, different things like that, dealing with childhood trauma, all of those different things or whatever. And we're big advocates on like all different forms of therapy.
Okay. And I'll be sure to link that down in the description because that's super important. And do you have a website or social media that they can connect with your nonprofit?
I do have a website. We'll post it in the chat
description.
You know, I don't want to mess it up or anything like that, but it's peaceofmindorganization.org. And we also on social media as peaceofmindorganization.org again or whatever. But we'll post like the actual links in the subscription because it's a big thing or whatever. We want you to come out, support all those different things. We're getting bigger.
Yes.
Come out of my pocket. It's a real nonprofit. So if you want to give some of their profit so I can keep whatever, that's good. But we're able to help women. I would say when I gave my story recently or whatever on the other platform, I was like 5 women reached out to me or whatever about DV violence, and I'm like, that ain't me. You know, but I was able to help them and get them resources or whatever and stuff like that.
Good.
I don't want to roll up on them like, what's his name?
And by the way, October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month and Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So we're all about women empowerment, and that's why we have this space. So thank you for plugging that in. And so if we don't have the resources, we can point you to the right direction, whether it be domestic violence, breast cancer awareness, and like you said, peace of mind. So mental health.
Right.
Period. That's the end of the sentence. Just mental health, like not just awareness, but just having your own peace of mind. And Chrissy, girl, I know you got the story you told today was beautiful, but look at how you have personified your own nonprofit, and now you're living with a peace of mind.
Exactly. And when you have a peace of mind, that's when it comes. That's when you're able
True.
to receive it. You know, when I say when it comes, I'm talking about love and stuff like that, or whatever. Back to your question,
Yeah.
when you're able to receive it or whatever. But you gotta love yourself first. You gotta go
Yep.
through. You gotta do the work. You gotta deal with anxiety. You gotta deal with how you approach people or whatever. How those things show up and resonate, and how you deal with those things, because you're dealing with another person. And then
Yep.
a relationship is not just about you; it's about another person or whatever. So you have to be able to properly communicate with yourself to properly communicate with somebody else. And I'm still working.
True. Hey, it's a process. And you are so right. And I always share that I have really been kind of like the first part of our conversation. So career, family life, so centered in the family I come from, career, friends. I definitely had my friends on a pedestal at a certain season of my time. I'm sorry.
Keep going. I want to grab my charger really fast. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, go ahead, go ahead. You do that. Go ahead. And to the audience, I was saying that in the season I was in, or before I got married, I put a lot of emphasis on my career, a lot of emphasis on my friendships, a lot of emphasis on my family role. Right, not my family, but okay, I got to be a great aunt, I got to be a great sister, got to be a great cousin. But I didn't prioritize Gigi. And if y'all know me personally, everybody calls me Gigi. So I didn't prioritize Giselle. I didn't prioritize Gigi. And that left me very depleted of my own energy, like my own source love energy. So I was trying, and this is like the heart chakra, my heart space. I was trying to give my heart to everyone but myself. And it left me empty. And I just felt alone. And it took that, and it took me losing someone I loved dearly, which was my grandmother. But when that happened, I was able to really have introspection, like you said, Chrissy, and look inside of myself and say, hey, I deserve love. I deserve to love myself. And then through that, I can attract other love. And so I got a cat. I adopted a cat, Sydney, which he around here somewhere. But that's how intentional I was about love. I was like, okay, I guess that was my form of being a mother, but I was like a fur mom. Like, I'm going to adopt a cat. And he was my grief cat. And I said, I want to love on him. He can love on me, and just really being love in action. But when I adopted him, I was like, okay, yeah, I need a man. First of all,
don't forget that I'm not one of them. I want to be with my man. I need a man. Yes, I'm not one of them. Like, I don't need a man. Sorry.
Okay. Needed me because that cat gave me duality. I thought it was a little girl, but he was actually a little boy, and he was very protective and just all these things. And I was just like, I feel so balanced now that I got this little boy cat. Now it's time for me. My heart is now ready to receive my divine masculine. I'm ready to receive, who is for me. But like you said, Chrissy, I had to do the work. So I had went through therapy. I got really, I guess, in a good place in my career where I felt like, okay, now I can date without feeling, lack of any sorts. I had my own place, and it just felt good to get to that version of me. But I had to grow by myself to even be able to attract my significant other. So Chrissy, I love what you said about doing the inner work. We have to do that. It's not anyone else, it's you.
We don't realize it. I share with you really quick, just like what you said, it resonated with me. You know my story, but to share with your viewers or whatever, my grandmother, maybe like 2 or 3 days before she passed away or whatever, she was very intentional. And at the time, like, I knew that she had cancer, different things like that or whatever. I didn't know that those was my last days with my grandmother, because she was very intentional about not letting me know, like, everything that she went through. And I was in Georgia and she was in St. Louis at the time, and all of that kind of stuff or whatever. But she said, Chrissy, I love you. You're very loving. You have so much love to give. And she said, but I want you to put some intention towards, like, your relationships. I want you to have a family. I want you to get married. I want you to experience those things or whatever. And I want to make sure that I tell you this. And she told me too, because she said, because you worked so hard. you like everything, you check off every box when it comes to like your work and all of those different things or whatever and stuff like that. And oh, don't make me cry because my lashes go.
You can cry. This is a safe space. We always do that when we talk about our grandmas. I'm listening.
Well, that was very intentional for me or whatever, because sometimes you don't know when those conversations are going to come back up. I used to talk to my grandmother every day, but she had never told me that. She always was all like, girl, go chase your career. You got time for that. All that kind of stuff. And her being a woman, an educated woman, went to Washington University or whatever, completed from there or whatever, started women in business in at Southwestern Bell a long time ago before I even knew it. And I like, that was somebody that I looked up to professionally. For somebody to be well educated like that or whatever, like she was in the executive offices, like, you know,
wow.
when it wasn't common for them to do that, and paving ways for other women or whatever, but still a wife at home, still a great mother, a great grandmother or whatever. Like my aunt and my dad say, we like just phenomenal. But for her to tell me that or whatever, I listened. But like at the time, I still wasn't ready. But she knew that she wasn't gonna be able to tell me later, and so she had to tell me in her now. And for her to be the one to have came to me that night or whatever and to confirm, because God has always gives me confirmation that I'm a Proverbs 31 woman or whatever. So that's not a concern of mine or whatever. It's just a matter of being a wife in waiting or whatever.
Yep.
Because you're always a wife. If you're a wife, you're a wife. If
yep.
you're a Jezebel, you're a Jezebel. If you yeah, that's what you are.
Whatever.
You can't be delivered though. You can't be delivered because my God's no favorite person. But that is what it is or whatever.
I love that.
But, I needed that or whatever. And those words came back to me in that moment. And it keeps coming back, like those type of things keep coming back to me to remind me when I am going through life or whatever, when I am opening my heart up or whatever, to not harden it, because I know that it'll come or whatever. You have to just have a knowing or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's a part of manifesting things for yourself or whatever. It's just like an innate inner knowing. You know,
yes.
So I have that innate inner knowing or whatever. And like when I was going through that or whatever, that was ringing in my head. I know I'm a Proverbs 31 woman. I know that this is something that my family and loved ones wanted for me. It's something that I want for myself or whatever. And I was able to like, that was my first time winding it down or whatever, and like not putting my career first. And one thing that I'm recognizing or whatever, and different things like that or whatever, because it's not all the way natural order. Women always do stuff. Proverbs 31 women, we always do stuff, whether if it's in the house, in the fields, or whatever the case may be. Like in the
she's working.
All that kind of stuff. She is working or whatever, but she's also very intentional about her legacy and why she's working. And so that's the part that I think that we forget sometimes or whatever.
Yep.
And we use as a coping mechanism to like work, because I know that this works. And I was telling myself that or whatever, like, I know that I can make this work. I know that I can be successful in these areas or whatever and stuff like that. Very financially savvy, all of those different type of things or whatever. I'm gonna play with my money. But I can make those things work or whatever, but having to depend on another person and all of that kind of stuff, and if they're going to be right or do right or whatever, that was a space that I wasn't willing to be vulnerable with or whatever. That now I am consciously working on being vulnerable with. Yeah. So,
and I think, and thank you for bringing it up, Chrissy, because that is so true. And I feel like many women are seeing themselves kind of playing this balance game, which you're a Libra. So this is your rule is justice and balance. So talk to me, and I want to tap into this just for a little bit about the masculine and feminine energies. And I talked about this on my other shows. We do innately have both energies. Naturally, all people have masculine and feminine. And I feel like when we are in the works and doing our work and getting to our money, we're exercising our masculine energy, which is needed. Right? Let's not play dumb here. We are not in the times where a woman should just sit, in my opinion. We are not promoting that on this channel, okay? Because if you're a little young girl, I need you to, if you want to be smart, you can go to college, get your degrees. We are degree, like I believe in brains and beauty and brilliance, okay? I think we need to get to education and be smart now. I do not subscribe to the play dumb persona. I don't believe in that. But Chrissy, please enlighten us on your thoughts on how to balance that balancing game. So you got the masculine, where you're like let's just say you're working, you know how to like the Proverbs 31 woman, she knows her goods are valuable. She can sell the silk in the market and make money and bring it back to her family. But then you have the feminine energy, who is not just subject to cooking and cleaning. We're talking about vulnerability. We're talking about feeling all these emotions. We're talking about accepting help, which means you know how to receive. And we're talking about trusting in something other than your own projections based on what you've learned in the next 2 years. It's going to be like this. Just trusting in God and trusting in your partner, which is tough. But tell me how you, or what advice you have for that balancing game of the masculine and feminine, and being able to lean in one energy to attract this versus jumping back in, because it's just so divine. So what are your thoughts on that, Chris?
Ooh, divinity, God. So, thank you, Lord.
That masculine,
the spirit might come on in on me, because
listen, I'm listening.
These are my thoughts or whatever. Like, backed off in my truth. God is very intentional. He made us second, but we're the upgraded version. As a woman, I feel like we are the upgraded version. Meaning, like, when iPhone come out with one or whatever, the 15 is better than the 14. The 14 is better than the 16. Subjective, all of those different type of things or whatever. So he was very intentional or whatever. So that's why we know how to do all of those things that a man per se know how to do and all of that kind of stuff. But he also gave us a kind of je ne sais quoi and different things like that about us or whatever, a finesse, as well as like that feminine energy. That's what makes us different. That's the exact part.
Exactly.
To that, like, I love it. I love getting dressed for my man. I love being able to give my man a massage or whatever, being able to cook his meals and all of that kind of stuff or whatever. Now I'm intentional, and I hold that, like, I hold that back to protect myself, because you shouldn't just be doing that for anybody or whatever, because a man is very protective over what is his and what and how he handles those things or whatever. But I also know sometimes when to step back and just let him do it. Yeah, you can do it or whatever, but he can do it better, because God made him that way to do that. And I'm okay with it or whatever and stuff like that. And I enjoy it or whatever. I like being the damsel in distress sometimes. Why you gotta check off all the boxes all the time or whatever? Can you please help me? I don't know it. I'm just a girl.
Right.
I like it. Yeah, I can work and all of that kind of stuff or whatever. But at the end of the day, I value your opinion. I value how you handle me or whatever. I value the time that you take out for me or whatever. And I love the things that you're doing for me or whatever. And I love that that's the way that a man wants to provide and stuff like that. Let him provide.
Yeah.
Whatever that is, what he provide, let him provide. Like, baby,
okay.
I love that or whatever. But we forget that, or we get in this hurt space or whatever, where we don't want to be hurt again. So we don't allow somebody into that space or whatever, and that's when we become masculine or whatever. It's a coping.
Yep, you're right.
Yeah. But you can do all of that for me, baby, and I love it. I'm gonna sit back and be and I'm gonna put the apron on, and I'm gonna do all of those good things or whatever for you. Like, I want to make time for you. I'm gonna
love that.
So whatever, but I need Daddy Wally. I'll take the initiative or whatever, stuff like that, because I know you working and out there getting it or whatever. But like, I need you to show up in the ways that you show up or whatever, and I'm going to pull that out of you, because I'm a real feminine woman. I know how to sit back or whatever. I know, like, sometimes I might got it. I might got it in my wallet too. But you got to figure it out, because you a man or whatever, and I'm going to allow you that opportunity to do so. But I'm never going to fall. I'm always going to be there with you or whatever, and I'll always talk to that. I'm the one. I will slide you my card under the table. But now, because if you're not working, I'm not.
We got to
be the man that you're supposed to be.
Right. And Chrissy,
that's what it is.
Girl, I love that. And I just also commend you, because I know you have a brother, and I know you, so you've been around the masculine. So when we talk about masculine, feminine, I'm talking about brothers, daddies, uncles, just being exposed to men. So you could just say, well, that's how men are. Men are like this, men are like that. And Chris, that's why I love you, girl, because you just be knowing the masculine, right?
I love me.
Yes, and it's like for me, even though I'm happily married and I'm properly loved, I've been married over 5 years, but I am still learning. I am like so in my young youth when it comes to being, frankly, just being with a man. And then being with a man every day because I did not have brothers. I come from a very hyper feminine background. It's like Barbie world. Okay. You know, I'm from Huntsville, Alabama. It's like Barbie world. It's like everybody's like little princesses. Like it's just Barbie world. It's girls.
I put that in. I'm all about the greenhouse, baby.
But that
twisted.
It's cool until it's not. Because like I said, that is toxic. Let me say that out loud. Barbie world is toxic, okay? Because there's not enough balance. So you try to wonder why the girl, especially even the younger girls, they'd be like, oh, girls trip, my girls, it's my best friend, girls trip. Like the younger girls that are like in high school and stuff, they're finding everything they need in their girlfriends and their best friends. Like, that's my best friend, that's my girlfriend.
That's not balance.
And it's exactly. So we get into toxic femininity, which is like I said, I grew up house full of women. My granddaddy was there, but he would like come and go. When he came, everything would change. It would be like, you know, like different. Yeah. But when he wasn't there, it's just party over here. We all have fun. And so that alone has been an adjustment. I have 3 sisters. I don't have brothers. I always had like good male friends. But I think it's really important if you're in your single season, especially if you're younger and you plan to one day, you know, be with a man, be married. Of course, things are going to come to you naturally, but you do have to be intentional about getting to know the masculine because we are not the same. Men and women are not the same. Like your man is not your home girl. It's not your homie. Like that's a man and they don't have the same wiring. So, Chrissy, what do you think about that?
I totally agree. I come from a long lineage of wives. That just is what it is, or whatever. Have been wives, different things like that, or whatever. Like I said, they stand on business. They don't just accept anything or whatever. But like, I don't have to look far. I think someone referenced. I don't know exactly because my cousin was sharing this with me or whatever. It was somebody on social media. I don't have the name to shout them out or whatever, but like. They were talking about, like, it was a meme going around, like, can you even name 3 wives in your family or something like that? I can name 20 quick.
Exactly.
Like, I'm not talking about the older people that I can pull back to or whatever. I'm talking about even the younger ones and stuff like that. But it's certain things that we were taught. Remember when I was telling you about when you're looking for a husband, because your husband has to be equally yoked, you're looking for intangibles and stuff like that. You've seen how men have treated women. You've seen how women have treated men or whatever. Men are natural providers, whether if they make less or more than the women in my family or whatever. They get out there and hustle. Let me say that again. Hustle or whatever, because they don't want their women working like that or whatever. Their biggest thing or whatever, because we know we need 2. Their biggest thing is like retiring them. Men in my family keep saying retiring their mamas, and the men that are married to them are retiring their wives or not even having them have to do that. If you want to do that, that's on your own or whatever and stuff like that. They still believe in that. But as a woman, I know that we do need both in this world because things are expensive and different things like that or whatever. But I saw women. I'm excited or whatever to cook my man plate and have the house ready and clean and spick and span when he come home or whatever. So I'm going to cater, even though I'm a working woman. I'm positioning myself, and this is a whole nother conversation, girl. But I'm gonna tell you, whatever God has given it to me to tell you, I'm positioning myself to do those things as well as help provide for my home or whatever. Because I am a Proverbs 31 woman. I keep saying that or whatever, but maybe that's the thing.
It's the truth. That's what we're talking about.
Always backed by scripture and word, like from over here, like But the thing with it or whatever, like I love doing those things or whatever because I seen women do it. The man get the big chicken, the big piece of chicken. Don't you touch that chicken. You better get some more sides or whatever the case may be. I'm thinking myself, but like I just remember those things. We, like I said, we clean the house. We make sure that that it's ready or whatever and stuff like that. We provide an environment that they want to come back to. You know,
yep, we do that naturally.
And as a woman, you should naturally want to do that or whatever. Like, and you should like what I was saying, like my new work environment or whatever, and different things like that. I'm not gonna put everything, but I'm putting it in a position where I can work from anywhere.
Yep.
Where, like I said, I'm prioritizing and organizing my schedule and different things like that or whatever. I'm even working hard or whatever. Women, like even back in the day or whatever, when you getting ready for your wedding season or whatever, back in the day, women had dowries and or either like their family paid for the weddings in other cultures or whatever. They had things to bring to the marriage or whatever because they prepared for those things or whatever and stuff like that. And so and it lessen the load on their man, like coming into the situation or whatever. So I'm prepping for that or whatever. Like we are in the new world, whatever. So the man gonna help me. He gonna help me.
Oh yeah.
Something
he gonna probably we'll manifest that he paying for everything just because he wants to make sure
down payment on the house or I can,
and he gonna pay for that too, girl. Listen, and even like it's good because well, I love that we're talking about this because even Rihanna was in the news recently because we love Rihanna. She's a billionaire and she's a millennial woman, which is our age group. So she's like the new face of womanhood. Like she's a billionaire. She's also a businesswoman. She be out here working at them fancy shows in New York Fashion Week, whatever, Paris Fashion Week. She's at work. Okay? She got paid to be there. But she has her husband. Shout out Rihanna, the blueprint, baby. You are that girl.
All the time. I've been
listen
for a long time. Love Beyonce, no shade or anything like that or whatever. Don't put two against each other. But in a room full of Beyonces, I'm always Rihanna, baby, because who else is there to be?
Listen, and what Rihanna said on air, and I receive it, honey. I feel like I love all these ladies because there's just some good images. But Rihanna did say that she was like, somebody asked her on the red carpet, and she said, "Oh, look at my fake accent." She was like, "When I come home, I gotta make sure I look really good because ASAP will be coming home, and I gotta look pretty when he comes home." And it caused the uproar in the internet. Some people were like, it's ridiculous that she's a billionaire. She's Rihanna, but she still has to think about looking good when her husband comes or her man come home. But Rihanna was like, she's from Barbados, so she's not really American. But she was like, no, I got to look good when my man come home because like, it's my man. So what do you think about that? I already know what you think, but what you think about that?
I want to do all of that or whatever. Now, I will say or whatever, granted, I do understand, like right now or whatever.
The pushback. Well, I'm asking. There was some.
My man gonna get I'm beautiful every day and all day or whatever. So my man gonna get
whatever he get. Okay.
Well, I'm not saying that whatever he get. No, I'm gonna put a little bit more razzle dazzle on it. But if I got my sweat on or whatever, I got my hair done and different things like that. I think I've heard somebody say or whatever, like an elevated woman or whatever, like she always leaves the house with at least one thing. If your outfit is bad or whatever, maybe your hair can be like maybe a little bit out of place that day. But if your hair is done or whatever, and you dress down or whatever, that's something like you always putting on or whatever. It should be an excitement. It shouldn't feel like if it feels like a chore, you don't want to do it for that man. That ain't the right one, ma'am. I'm sorry.
That's true.
Or whatever.
You are right about that.
He don't love you regardless or whatever, but give him something to love. Before Rihanna said it or whatever, and we have to pay attention or whatever. One of my favorite people, and she was just so regal, so demure. And she had her relationships and different things like that or whatever, is Diane Carroll. One of my favorite actresses or whatever, the first TCH, those are her words on TV or whatever. She said,
wow.
You don't go around no man like that. And I felt her when she said it or whatever. You want to give him something to look at or whatever. He owns people on social media and all this other kind of stuff or whatever, looking at all these females and stuff like that. Now I'm real.
Yeah.
I think that my beauty exudes like in real life or whatever. So I want to be represent my best self when he in real life with me or whatever, because I see what they see on that social media.
Exactly.
And you just
okay
or whatever. I love it. I want to dress up for you. I want to play the roles. I want to do all of that kind of stuff or whatever. I want to bring the excitement to your life because I'm your woman.
Right. And I love, because if Rihanna is putting in effort, you're going to have to put in effort, okay? I don't care. It's Rihanna. And if Rihanna is making sure she keep it cute, put on her lashes, do a little Fenty face, and make sure exactly making sure she look good when ASAP Rocky come home. Then you gonna have to do it too. Let me ask you this. Okay, I saw this girl, and of course, this is like a trending conversation, but she was in our neighborhood, and she had a very nice shape. You know, I was with my husband, so whatever. We talk, but she had a very nice shape, and she had on like a sports bra, some cute little leggings, very nice shape. I mean, she had a really nice curvy body, very fit, slim waist, but she had a bonnet on. And it was given Bonita Apple Bonnet. That's what I called her. You know how it's Bonita Apple Bomb? Bonita Apple Bonnet.
I have to use that.
I'm going to make sure I get this clip of this video. Bonita Apple Bonnet. Okay. And I thought to myself, I was like, all she had to do was take the bonnet off. Why would she wear the bonnet outside? With everything else was great, but she just had to leave that bonnet on. So what are your thoughts on bonnet? Because Chrissy, you know you're my beauty friend. Like you do hair, you know the beauty secrets. What do you think about the bonnets, Bonita Apple bonnets that are everywhere? What do you think?
No shade to the woman. She might have been trying to keep it right or whatever, get her workout in and keep it right for her man that was coming home. So we'll leave it there for her or whatever. But the bonnets are a no for me. I have little cousins that we argue about this all the time. Like it's a new fad or whatever. The bonnet is like to me, the bonnet like the do rag. My grandparents and my folks didn't let the guys wear the do rag outside like that or whatever. That was disrespectful back in the day or whatever. And that's something that still stands to this. That's not demure. That's very ratchet. That's giving very unprepared. All of those
it is
whatever. And like I just want to tell women that this is my opinion. I'm
mine too.
The way, like I said, I got my little cousins that wear bonnets and stuff like that or whatever. But I was taught you don't go to the mailbox outside of your house with no bonnet on, and all that kind of stuff or whatever. Like house things are for house things or whatever, stuff like that. Now I'm very one of those women that will put my scarf on or whatever and my bonnet on around my man. I might wait till he go to sleep or whatever and all that kind of stuff. But I am gonna preserve the do. But I'm not going outside in public
with the do on.
That's an intimate thing, you know. Like
it is. I agree
for everybody or whatever. And like you pay for that hairstyle and stuff like that. Yeah, preserve it, but also show it off. Like be your best self. Like bring your best self to the table. And I'm sorry, I don't think a bonnet on your head is your best self. That's just me.
I agree, and I think the girls that wear them to school, like the kids nowadays, they wear pajamas to high school. So I guess we might just be showing. Listen, we might be showing our age here, but I don't care, girl. You ain't gonna catch me. I don't even get on the internet with no bonnet. But I noticed, like on TikTok, if you have a bonnet on, it seems like people watch your video more. It's like that's how you. I guess I don't know. It's interesting. Look, both like
thing. If it better not look like you about to jump in bed. To me, you better wrap that thing. You better do the turban. You better be
something.
Erykah Badu. Shout out to Erykah Badu.
Yeah,
I'm not. I'm just not feeling it. That's
me neither.
I'm not feeling it. But I'm a hairstylist too, or whatever, and stuff like that.
You are a hairstylist, and you be slaying some hair.
Thank you. Like even though like I'm out of town, and I cannot believe I left all of my hair products and all that kind of stuff or whatever. So I
can't tell.
Figure it out, good. Thank you or whatever. But like even if it's a top knot bun or something like that, like we back to relationships and stuff like that. Like your man deserves your best self or whatever. Like give him something to look at. Like you know.
Hey, and you got to look at yourself in the mirror too. So you want to be cute in the mirror.
That ain't cute to me. I'm not cute with nobody. I'm hurrying up and let me tell you, my man FaceTime me or something like that or whatever. I got a scarf on. I might have to call him right back. Or I'm here that off or whatever, like wiping my face and all that kind of stuff. I'm that girl. I'm sorry. And I'm strong and all that kind of stuff or whatever, but I don't eat it. I'm not strong for him. So.
And that's how the women in the 90s, and I feel like they were some of the first, like, and the image that comes to my mind is Gabrielle Union. And Two Can Play That Game. She was in that movie with Vivica Fox. And she got out of that convertible car. She had that red suit on. Her hair, she had the top ponytail, and it was swinging. And I was like, oh, them the vibes. Like she just looked so savvy and just everything. And I feel like times are the history's repeating itself. So now we're holding ourselves more accountable to higher standards as Black women, as women of today, because the times have changed. So, oh my God, Chrissy, we'll sit on here and talk for another hour if we really will. But before we go, because I really want to get back grounded into the conversation of loving yourself, self-love, resilience, but all of this is really about you and like your journey, your story, and really growing and being your best self. So before we jump out of here, could you share 2 tips, like 2 ways that you practice self-love, or for the audience that maybe they're struggling to even date? Because some women like, I don't know, I don't feel pretty enough. I need to lose some weight before I date. All of the stuff that comes at women. But what are 2 or 3 things you can provide as tips to practice self-love every day, or just getting self-love in the routine so that she can feel more loved, like loving herself? Because you talked about the inner work. So what are some things she can do?
So things that I practice or whatever that I plan on practicing and I have incorporated in my life just before, if I'm with somebody or not with somebody. Affirmations are amazing. Talk to yourself. Tell yourself you're beautiful. Love yourself or whatever and stuff like that until you believe it. Because that's what really counts or whatever, like what you think of yourself. I'm going to go ahead and say, I've always said, and you've heard me say it before, I get in the mirror and before I even knew this was an affirmation, and I've been saying it since I was just like elementary, middle school. I'm the most famous person I know. Every time I walk past a mirror or whatever, I see me before I see anybody else. And I love me before I love anybody else. That's something that I've always said before I even knew it was an affirmation. And now I add things, like I said, about my finances, about the type of woman that I want to be or whatever. I speak to her as though she already is.
Oh, I love that.
Thank you.
That's great.
Also, quiet the noise too or whatever. I am big on bilateral beats. I'm a big on because music makes you feel certain kind of ways or whatever. Sometimes it can bring about anxiety. It can bring about emotions or whatever, stuff like that. It's known that that's something that our body cannot not receive. God made us that way for a reason, because vibrations and music and different things like that count for something or whatever. So I slow it down. Like I said, affirmations and what you tell yourself is important or whatever. Sometimes I listen to things that don't have any music or anything like that. I say my affirmations with them, or just be in a quiet, still place or whatever, and allow my body to receive that and calm down or whatever, so I can make proper right decisions and get the best sleep and all of that kind of stuff or whatever. And a third thing is I'll say for people that are looking out or whatever, because we talked about, we are the princesses or whatever, but we're more like a Princess Tiana, I'll say, or something like that. Somebody that is resourceful, all of those different things or whatever. My grandmother always said, provide your needs and let a man provide some of your wants or whatever. And why she said that or whatever, it's not the fact that a man can't provide your needs or whatever. It allows you a space and maybe you want him to provide some of your needs, but always be capable of providing your needs or whatever. But allowing a man to be a man, but that gives you a space to make a decision out of a loving space or whatever. It gives you a space to make a decision or whatever, like if somebody is treating you right or treating you wrong or whatever, you won't feel stuck in a situation or whatever. I never want to feel stuck. I always want to be there because I want to be there. That's it. Those are the 3 things.
Chrissy, I'm here teary-eyed. I'm just so glad that you had the privilege to be around and among the elder women of the community, of your community, because your being is an impact on the community, because you were able to absorb that knowledge and wisdom and be obedient and a steward of the lessons, even in your own life experiences, to have that knowledge to always resort to in times of need or uncertainty and things like that. And the woman, the Proverbs 31 woman, the traditional woman, the Renaissance woman like myself and like you, she has not been on the stage. That's why I'm so happy to have you here. You are. Thank you. And girl, you are. And I'm just like you're carrying that spirit now in your being, in the words you're sharing, girl. It sounds like you're streaming from like the fifth dimension. Like this is not 2024. Like you are talking from a whole different world of wisdom. And I just really value and cherish this.
I want to say thank you for bringing me on your platform.
Absolutely.
You're speaking those things to me, but I'm speaking those things right back to you because you are that. You are a friend like that or whatever. I've seen your growth. I even saying with my god sister again or whatever, we were going back through old messages. Like she got the messages from like 10 phones ago of mine. I don't got it like that or whatever. But like talking about how we have grown and how like we show up and different things like that or whatever. And that is what it's about. We're human. We're not perfect or anything like that. Like we're women or human beings having an experience or whatever. Women that happen to be women. That's part of our experience over here on this earth. And I've seen, like I said, I've seen how you've grown, all of those different things or whatever. We are allowing the space for that or whatever. But also with that is people coming behind us. We talk, me and you have like our conversation has been about legacy building and stuff like that. We talk about building our relationships. We talk about building our finances and all that kind of stuff. But we rarely talk about, and a lot of women don't or whatever, because a lot of women, I'll be honest, are fearful of other women because they're fearful of like them being younger than them, having more opportunity or whatever. They get scared about getting older. I am embracing getting older or whatever. I ain't too old yet or whatever, but I'm embracing getting older. I'm embracing coming from wisdom or whatever. And just like I look to those women or whatever for before me as examples, I want to be one of them examples or whatever. Like I refuse that, and I know the music. I listen to it. I listen to Sexy Red sometimes or whatever because she's from St. Louis and it got a bop. She always put a good old school behind it or whatever and stuff like that. But I don't let that stuff get into my spirit because I know I have a call to action for the young women that are in my life or whatever. They're going to see a healthy example. They're going to see me fly, fine, all that kind of stuff, but they also going to see me handling business outside the world and at home or whatever, because I owe that much to them because it was given and poured into me. And who am I to keep that all inside?
Exactly.
Them or whatever. I refuse. I denounce baby mama culture. And like I said, like that's a thing that was a generational curse in my family or whatever, but I'm going to break it. And God, like I said, God really showed up for me in my time of need or whatever, but it got me back on track to know like I'm called to way more. I don't have to settle or anything like that or whatever and stuff like that. And it's keeping the women that's behind me focused.
Yes. I love that.
I love to see the youth. I love to see them doing their thing. I'm going to be out there getting sexy. Like, I want to embrace like their time because we had
our time.
All of them people or whatever.
Oh yeah.
It didn't stop us from being the women that we are today because of the women that really poured into us or whatever and stuff.
Right.
It's like a fun time, but you got the ones that will set you straight and keep you and see you in the spirit.
Yep.
And correct the spirit
when it's needed. And I love that what you said about breaking those curses. Because I mean, I'm on the other side of dating, which is marriage. But guess what spirit I'm breaking? How about this? I'm breaking the spirit of leaving a marriage, right?
That part.
The spirit of quitting, the spirit of divorce, the spirit of walking away. That is another spirit that you could find yourself fighting up against even in a marriage, because we see so many people leave marriages, and I've seen people in my own family leave. And my grandmother never left, but I'm just saying, like, that's another spirit. So once you get married, there's a whole nother world of curse or things that you have to fight up against daily. And that could be the spirit of, like I said, rejection and the spirit of leaving and divorce and like, I don't want to do it. I'm out. Yep. All of that.
That's in relationships or whatever. And like I said, like, you're my friend. I saw that area when you were in your flight mode of different things like that or whatever.
Yeah, I was running, y'all. I was scared.
I said, Girl, I used to have dreams I was gonna be the runaway bride at one point or whatever. Now I'm ready. Like I'm having dreams that I'm up there before he up there, you know, all of that kind of stuff or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I said before, I've operated in dating saying like if they're not the one it'll be a departing factor, but I'm so happy to be on the opposite side of that, breaking that for myself even before my man come to know that like my man is my man and I'm gonna stick beside him. I'm gonna stick beside him.
Yep.
And then like the person that deserves it, I'll say.
Right, right.
Never telling somebody to say something that ain't right or whatever. But like I'm excited about like going through those things, learning through those things, going through those hard moments is are healthy hard moments, I'll say.
Yep. And, absolutely.
And going through those happy moments or whatever with a person or whatever, because I truly believe in monogamy or whatever. I truly believe in having a person to experience this life with or whatever. Like I believe that that's something that is cherished and like I don't want to run from it. But I recognize like some things that I have been through or whatever. I thought that was the answer at one point.
Right.
And
he was like, nah, this ain't it.
From that, I've seen women say or whatever. I've seen the healthy relationships or whatever, but I've heard them women too. You ain't got to deal with that. You ain't got to do this kind of stuff or whatever and stuff like that. But like, quiet the noise or whatever. Like,
quiet the noise.
Listen or whatever. Don't nobody know what you talk to somebody when you pillow talking and stuff like that or whatever. And you know when you should stay and you know when you should go or whatever. But just because it's hard don't mean you're supposed to go. And you can't listen to always using leave as the answer.
Because like, that ain't got to be your answer.
I don't never say like I'm always. And I tell my friends. I've told you this before. Different things like that. Just thank God that this doesn't. Like, personally, I don't know this to be your situation or anything like that. But I would say I'm always going to champion your relationship. I'm always going to trust the decision that you made for the spouse that you have or whatever. So I'm not going to be the friend to say leave. But if I see something that is not healthy, I will recognize it. I will always respect your decision. All of those different things. I will let you know, like, my true thoughts or whatever, but I'm always going to maybe suggest counseling, maybe
something healthy.
You sit with yourself, something healthy.
Right.
That's
and I remember you had some old friends and you saw that happen in their life. But I will say this sometimes, because for me, I ain't ever went nowhere. This was like, okay, story time. When we first started dating, me and my husband, I've never had a serious boyfriend, y'all. I just been me. Okay. I never took these guys serious, if I'm being honest. But when I met my husband, we had already known each other and then we kind of like reconnected. But when I met him, y'all, I ain't gonna lie, I was scared because it was just too good to be true. And it was like, it was so scary to me because it was so real. And it's like, you know how you could pray for something and manifest, like, oh, I'm gonna meet my husband. And then your husband be like, hey, I'm here. Girl. I was like,
that's
wait,
true.
Am I not ready? I need to figure this out.
That's true.
And it's like love, you'll just go, it's like you literally just jump. It's like jumping off a cliff. And who wants to jump off a cliff? Like, it's scary. It can be scary. And I think because we have been conditioned to be afraid of it. And when it comes knocking on your door, I'm talking about everything you want in a guy. It's just like getting your dream job. Like they be like, oh, I'm going to pay you $300,000. You're going to move to New York City. We're going to give you a loft up on the top floor and we're going to pay your food. And what's the first thing you're going to say? I don't know. Something must be wrong.
Something ain't right.
Something ain't right. This too good to be true. And we kind of use that as an excuse to not accept the blessing or not accept what God is literally sending right to you. But that's the vulnerable that you were talking about, being vulnerable.
What I was choosing, like, I feel like in relationships, just to be candid or whatever, oh my God, I love talking to you. Because we really be on some real stuff or whatever. I've always, like, my uncle used to say that the invitation comes before the reading. And in the past, I feel like seeing my growth now or whatever, I would choose the invitation over the real. But it wasn't because, like, it was my safe zone because I was okay with walking away. And so, like, I feel like subconsciously, like I would choose that, and I think that's really what it is. You go with what you're comfortable with, and all of those different type of things. I was okay with walking away or whatever, and but like now I'm okay with staying with the right one. So I know
because you did that with him.
Huh?
I said with your ex, you were there long enough to say you stayed.
Oh yeah,
right.
I was. That just wasn't the right one. I was practicing.
Right.
I was practicing. That was a practice trial or whatever and stuff like that. But even for him, like I was dating before or whatever, and like to be totally candid, would never give away anybody's name or anything like that or whatever. That a relationship came back or a friendship came back around or whatever, and I remember the person asking me or whatever, like, why did you choose him or whatever. And I was being love bombed, to be honest or whatever. That person was available. The other person lived out of town and all of that kind of stuff or whatever. So Janelle at the time seemed easy.
Okay.
And this is me personally. I'm talking about that. He seemed easy because he was there. He was like giving me the attention that I wanted, all of that kind of stuff or whatever. He was being deceptive. He was the invitation before the real. And not the. I mean, I don't know if the other person is the real or not or whatever. We're working it out. God.
Exactly. One step at a time.
What I'll say is or whatever. Like I chose that or whatever because like it was everything I appeared to want or whatever, and the other person wasn't moving how I wanted them to move, or not moving as fast as I wanted them to move or whatever. But for them to be in a heart space to ask me, like, why was it that? Because we were in a good space, all of those different things or whatever, and that I was still in my fun phase of dating or whatever, or like wanting the flashy thing or whatever, stuff like that. The person that was giving me the most attention instead of the right attention.
Okay.
And with your husband or whatever, I'm sure like I know your past like dating history or whatever, and none of them made cut. Oh well. Sorry.
They were
suckers.
They were like, play. Let's just play. It was very playful. Let's play. But I will say this, Chrissy, the month I decided, because I had a mental awareness. I was like, oh, I'm ready to be a wife. I was not ready all that time, but it took, I think I was like 28 or 27. I was like, okay, now I'm ready. But I wasn't ready before, and you ain't got to be ready you ain't got to be ready until you're ready. So let's just say that.
It comes at different times. I had a lot of stuff to peel back or whatever. Like, I had a lot of stuff to peel back or whatever. A lot of things like innately in me or whatever that I seen that I didn't know that was affecting me or whatever and stuff like that. That now I am ready to choose the correct one or whatever that is right or whatever. Like I'll even say for your relationship, because I know I got a spirit of discernment. I said it already or whatever, and I can see other people's situations. A lot of people ask me for wife advice, and I'm like, y'all ain't even a wife yet. Y'all supposed to be going to as a wife. I guess we
you just be knowing. Yeah.
But I remember doing your birthday party or whatever, and like really. That was my first. I hadn't heard about the hubby and all of this kind of stuff. Whatever.
Oh, we was boyfriend and girlfriend at the time.
Yeah,
but we was dating.
I'm like, we've been to that point. Like, ooh, is he the one? What kind of man we want? All this kind of stuff or whatever. And I was there, and he stood up and gave a devotion to you that was amazing or whatever. Like, and I was just like, that's him. That's him. You gone, like, and I was able to like be that friend that was able to let you go out of your singleness or whatever and grow or whatever. That was real. Like I ain't never seen nobody do what he did for you.
And, you were there, Chrissy. That's so sweet.
Yeah, that was the moment, girl. I was like, that's it. Thank
you.
It's a wrap. My friend is off the market, and I champion it. A lot of women they be mad.
I love how you just said that what you just said, give me away, or basically you saw that I was gone in that moment. Y'all, I had my 30th birthday dinner. It was all my family, all my friends. Go ahead. Because I've been doing that the whole time. It was all my family, all my friends, and 30th birthday dinner. At the time, me and my husband were boyfriend and girlfriend. And it was so special to me. It was like I had just got into the mode of celebrating myself in such a big way. His parents was there, my best friends was there, everyone was there. But Chrissy, hearing you say that makes me feel so good because I did not have a traditional wedding. We did not have a traditional wedding, girl. We had a nice little courthouse wedding.
Girl, that was married. That was just
it was done. And it wasn't like, in the future we're gonna have something one day, God willing, but we did not have that official wedding like traditional. But you know what, Chrissy, my birthday dinner was our reception. And I love how you just said you let me go, because some of those people at that table did not want to see me go. They knew that it was time, but they didn't want to let me go. And I knew that God had called me to be a wife. Even if I wasn't ready, I was already in it. You know what I mean? And I was ready when we got married. I didn't think twice. But you was there and you saw the evolution. It went from boyfriend to friend to, okay, I'm giving a toast. Okay, right before the pandemic, we got married. Okay, we've been married ever since. And sometimes God will bring things into your life always at the right time for you. And other people might not agree. And I saw a content. She said, it's like this spiritual woman. I love me. We spiritual. She said, you have no idea how much hate comes around you when you are about to get married or when you are married or about to get married. So when we see bridezillas or all these very dramatic, chaotic weddings, or
when you exude wife,
there you go,
wife and you already a wife. That I have experienced that.
You have
friends and just different things like that or whatever, like being a wife and feeling inferior or whatever, and different things like that or whatever. But like like I said, I'm a woman champion or whatever, and different things like that. I want you to win, but like everybody don't want you to win, or they like the space that you are or whatever. So you want even women around you or whatever that respect your relationship, that grow with you in that or whatever. Understand that you pick up every call or whatever. You gonna check in with your husband.
Yeah,
I can't wait to check in. Like, you have to check in with your husband or whatever, and like it's not a forced thing or whatever. It's not taking anything away from it.
It's just that
about this person's feelings or whatever, and you're adding to the love.
And you're not in a bachelor. And like, you can't be a bachelorette. That was something that came up. Like, there were friends getting married or having their bachelorette. Girl, we 30 plus. No shade to the girls. But in my opinion, at a certain timeline of your life, you got to let the bachelorette vibes go. Because, baby, we was bachelorettes our entire 20s.
We had a good old time. Like I said, I had a good old time. My singleness was
yes, mine too.
Traditional, so you can't, and you get married.
And if you're older,
and you have a matron of honor.
True. There you go. Matron of honor.
Matron is already married. And the maid of honor is that friend that you're taking into your marriage or whatever, and different things like that. But the thing about it is, those two people or whatever should be champions of you in your relationship or whatever. So everybody can't make it. It might not be your best friend that's your maid of honor, because she might not respect it like that.
And listen,
like that and stuff like that. You got to pray.
And have the right people. And so, ladies, if you're watching and you may have just got engaged, because it's a lot that comes with all of this, okay? And we're here to empower you. So if you're a woman or a young girl or any age and you just got engaged and you're trying to figure out what to do next and where you spoke, all the rules, I would definitely encourage you to reach out to Chrissy if she's taking consultations, because she know these rules. And there's a lot of unwritten rules to marriage and the wedding and all that stuff. If you're taking the more traditional route, it's very overwhelming. Like, soon as you get married, soon as he asked you to marry you, it's like your whole life is just on 10 until you walk down that aisle. And so, me personally, I chose the route that I did because I don't come from a traditional family, and I knew, and my husband, we came to this agreement, like, I don't have that level of support. Let me be honest. I didn't have that level of support to be able to execute what I was looking to execute when it comes to like a wedding or all the traditions surrounding that. So if you come from a family that don't really adhere to those certain principles and stuff, you don't have to have what everyone else had or did And that don't make you more or less of a wife either. Because a lot of people will feel like, oh, if, I don't have this or I don't have that, I can't have this, can't have that. Girl, it ain't cost me $20 to get that marriage license. Okay.
You have a marriage.
Everything
people stop at the wedding and don't even have a marriage.
Exactly. So don't beat yourself up if you lack any type of thing. That know that God made you a wife, baby, and that's all that there is. But if you have questions, because Chrissy, you used to wedding planning and all that, it's a lot of stuff that comes with that. And if you're first generation wife, you might want to know things. I would definitely encourage you to reach out to Chrissy because she got the tea. She know all this stuff, and she can really give you that space of support and comfort during your big day. Because I don't know, it might be some fiancés on the audience, and Chrissy, you might be a fiancé soon too. So hey, you just never know. But listen, Chrissy, before we're gonna wrap for real this time. We were supposed to wrap 20 minutes ago. But before we wrap, is there anything you'd like to say, where they can reach you? Any last remarks before we close out?
Like I said, I don't have a Finsta, so Chrissy _JAI. Also hashtag that's the beauty broker is my real page. You can reach me on there. I answer my DMs.
Okay.
And within reason, if they're worth answering. And then, like I said, shout out to my nonprofit Peace of Mind organization. We're always working on those things, and that's really about it. Reach out to Gigi if you want to get to Mimi.
Chrissy, you've been giving me these mom jokes. I just love them. So
I know I'm corny. Oh well.
No, you're not. No, you're not. You are you. Okay. I love it. I'll be doing the same thing. That's where we align. Okay. What a beautiful conversation. I had one more question. Dang, should I ask it or not? Okay.
I'll give you the raw uncut.
Before we leave, because I want to really, because like I said, most I've only had 3 episodes, so you're balancing out the scales. But my first episode, we had a cast member from a reality TV show that's on air, Married to Medicine. So we're talking about marriage. Then my second cast member, I would say she's a beauty guru, but also married and has a very legacy minded. So she's just kind of like goals when it comes to 20 years down the road. They've been married 25 years, so she could teach us some things. But today I'm talking to my friend Chrissy, who is in her single waiting season. We're going to call her a wife in waiting. So she's giving us the tea on dating, because dating is still very fun, you know what I'm saying, until you get to the ring and get into the other side, which is where me and the other ladies was. But child, we just over here talking. But I want to ask you a question before we wrap. Very, very last question. Do single women keep each other single?
Girl, that's a whole other topic. That's a topic to have for a whole panel.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Because sometimes single women can be, I'll say selfish ones. The ones that are selfish, they can keep you single or whatever. They can make you feel inferior about like choosing your man for certain things or whatever, or just different things like that or whatever. I think women that really love you want somebody that is that can also express that love for you or whatever. And like it's a thin line for them to be selfish, to keep you in that area, and then to let you go to your spouse. But I would even say married women or whatever. Sometimes you're married, like you know how they say, "Oh, you're not supposed to be around it" or whatever. Not saying you, Gigi. Y'all always trying to get me down the aisle some kind of way. But even your married friends could sometimes keep you single. And this goes for men and women or whatever, because you're idolizing what they have or whatever, see all of that kind of stuff. But they see you as help in their situation or whatever, whether it be with their children, whether it be with their family, whether it just be being that moral support. They enjoy having you readily available. So that goes for single and married women or whatever. And when you get with your husband or whatever and stuff like that, and that's what I'm working on, because I am that friend that a lot of people can lean on or whatever. When you get with your husband or you get with your wife, because I know me ain't gonna look at this too, or whatever, you have to be readily available for that person. Yeah. And being readily available for that person sometimes doesn't mean being ready available for people that you have been ready available in the past or whatever. So you guys can work on y'all stuff. Then when y'all get y'all stuff together or whatever, it's kind of like a reintroduction into life or whatever. Like I said on your show the other day or whatever, you guys were talking to another married couple. You were able to come in and bring insight into that situation or whatever. And you guys have done even that for me as a single person or whatever, because y'all done worked on y'all stuff or whatever. And now y'all able to pour into other people or whatever. But y'all let them go for a season to be able to do that or whatever. And the people that are part of your tribe, whether it be single or married or whatever, allowed you that time to do that, allowed you that time to grow with your spouse. It's been plenty of times, like, I remember, like, that I'm at something or whatever, and I feel like I have to be so much into that or whatever that I don't spend time with my spouse or whatever and stuff like that. And like, they love you in that moment or whatever, but like when you get home, you're still lonely, and don't nobody, somebody needs somebody at home waiting for them or whatever. Also, somebody needs somebody to experience those things with. Where I'm not just giving you at home. I'm out with you. I'm experiencing life with you. I'm giving you to my family. I'm giving you to my friends. You giving me to your family. You giving me to your friends or whatever. You have to have that partner. But the only way to have that, I'm talking or whatever, and I'm in my single season or whatever. So it's just like, I don't want this to like be void, because it really comes from a loving part of my life. In my last season or whatever, I mean, last season, last life, I know I was married quick or whatever, because I say that or whatever and stuff like that. Like, that's your ministry. That's your first ministry for the man and for the woman or whatever, and all of that kind of stuff or whatever. But allow yourself to that space, and don't let nobody rob you and take that away from you or whatever. Like, that's that lover of themselves. Being selfish people keep you away from your spouse. And I'm
so glad
you're away from your spouse. So
so glad. Listen, I'm so glad that God removed all the selfish people away from me. Okay, because my spirit team came through and they was like, chop, 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 chop. All right, you good. And now I got my own piece.
Chopping them off. I was like, oh Lord, she gonna chop me off too? Like,
no,
I was still growing. I wasn't understanding it. Well, I wasn't selfish.
Nope.
So
it's been a very been a very spiritual time. Yep, it is, like, and that. But when you get in that covenant with your spouse, married people talk about this all the time, but it's a thing, and I didn't know. I was kind of blindsided, but once I got more in communication with others, they're like, "Oh yeah, they're gonna act crazy, but whatever. It don't. It's just come with the territory." And I feel like that's an age-old conversation. It's nothing new. But with that being said, oh my God, Chris, we're going to pause here. Thank you so much for your time and your energy. This has been such a fabulous conversation, y'all. And with that being said, I am Goddess Giselle. You are tuned in to episode 3 of Conversation with Chrissy Jai. I hope you received this. This was so amazing. And be on the lookout for the next episode. And until then, I'll talk to you later. Bye.
Bye-bye.